Well, guys, today we bring you news of another brand new project in development for the DCU. Of course, James Gunn back in January gave us a Chapter 1 reveal of the slate, or at least the majority of Chapter 1, and a lot of the projects he's working on. And, when it comes to James Gunn, we know that he likes to do obscure characters. That's what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what he did with the Suicide Squad. And we saw that even with some of these Slate 1 reveals with characters like the Creature Commandos. Definitely, like, I hadn't even heard of them before. And then even something kind of like Swamp Thing or Booster Gold. Like, they're not, like, top tier super well-known DC characters. Now today we are talking about another one with the Question. So the Question is he he's like I said, he's kind of in the middle. He's like a similar area to Booster Gold, where it's like people will know him from the animated stuff, but the general audience will have no clue who the Question is. But anyway, yesterday, the DCEU Leaks subreddit, their mod team put out a little scoops thing, and they put out some information on some other stuff. And one of the things they mentioned was that James Gunn is developing a Question series for the DCU. And then later on, My Time to Shine Hello on Twitter also put out the same scoop, which they're basically just copying the same news. So who knows if that's actually My Time to Shine Hello just piggybacking on what DCU Leaks said, or if that's them actually kind of reconfirming it, I guess. But either way, this is really awesome for me personally, because the Question is a great character. He was definitely one of my favorite characters growing up because, again, the Question, I grew up watching in animation, Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Brave and the Bold. He was always just a really interesting character to me. And those of you that don't know who the Question is, I mean, just looking at him, it may be a kind of basic looking character. But obviously you can tell he doesn't have a face. And that's his thing. He's a vigilante. He goes out and he fights crime, and he wears a mask that makes it look like he has no face. So it's definitely a really interesting design for a character. But he's a very kind of bare bones grounded character, I guess is what I would say. It's kind of like Batman, where it's like people are always saying like, oh, Batman's in the Justice League but he has no superpowers. The Question, at least in most versions, does not have superpowers. He is just a regular guy who goes out and fights crime and wears this mask that makes it look like he has no face, but of course doing so while of course dressed very spiffily. So yeah, and this is just, I think, a really great idea for the DCU, because obviously with the DCU, with all these different characters, we know that they're going for a lot of different tones and a lot of different genres, which I think is perfect, because that's one of the things that Marvel is kind of lacking in right now, is where everything kind of feels the same. DC really needs to do the opposite and really spice things up a bit. And the Question will be so different from anything else, because the Question could be like a noir detective series on HBO Max, or Max, whatever you want to call it. And it could be something that literally, I feel like this would be something that would appeal to even non-superhero fans. Like, even people who don't like superhero stuff could watch this and still like it, because there's other HBO shows that are similar to this that tell kind of detective stories. I mean, you look at True Detective. This could be like True Detective, but set in the DC cinematic universe. A character that, does these detective things and investigates and follows these mysteries and everything, but then also is a part of the Justice League, which would be so freaking awesome. Now, of course, when it comes to casting, I have no idea, especially because of the whole, his mask makes it look like he has no face. So there's not really a super like comics accurate looking, like kind of specific look to go for an actor. Really just like whoever's the best actor for the role. If you have any personal fan cast, let me know in the comments below. But of course, like I said, there's been multiple versions of the Question in the comics, and more recently there has actually been a female version of the Question. So that is another direction they could possibly take this in as well. I would prefer the original male version of the Question, but if they do the female version, I mean, I'm not going to get super upset over it. I believe this is Renee Montoya, actually, which actually is really interesting. But again, I would prefer the male version, but I'm open to this as well. But again, I'm just really excited about this. I think this is really cool. It could be very different. And the question is just a really interesting character that we're bringing to the DCU. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, this isn't confirmed or anything, but it is coming from reliable sources. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the fact, well, not fact, but we'll consider it a rumor, the new rumor that James Gunn is developing a question series for the DCU. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.